Coming up on Verse Chorus Verse. In 1999, a Canadian rock band made a concept album about a book that, for now, seems to be perfectly predicting the future. That's next. Welcome to Verse Chorus Verse. My name is DL, some would say. With me, as always, is Rachel, currently in repair polio. Rachel, how you doing?
Great. Great, David. My body is repairing itself.
Is
2
it?
hours of surgery.
Is it, though?
I mean,
You'll get
I'll
better.
get better.
I believe in you. Also with us, Evil. How many times did you hear what they were saying on this album and do the Leonardo DiCaprio point from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling better.
Good.
Compared to our last recording.
Yeah. Have you been working on your microbiome gut health?
Yes.
By cleaning it completely out.
We were just leveling the surface,
Yes.
starting over from scratch.
That's smart.
Yeah, people say you're supposed to drink a bunch of weird green shit, but I think all you need to do is just eat some
Apples.
Apples.
Honestly, apples are my secret weapon for gut health.
What kind of apple, can I ask? What's your favorite?
Red ones.
That narrows it down. Thank you.
Back in the day, you could have just gone to the Torch and eaten some finger steaks. But
Wait,
now,
you went to the Torch for finger
cannot.
steaks?
No.
Megan
But
went
that's
to the
where
Torch
they were.
with you?
That's where they were invented.
Evil knows exactly what I'm talking about. The Torch was not always a strip club.
No, it was a restaurant, and that is literally where finger steaks were invented.
Is that right?
Yep.
Do they still
It's
sell
true.
finger steaks
My
there?
grandpa used to take me there after gymnastics.
They
So,
sell
200th
finger
episode,
steaks.
though.
At the Torch? You know me.
hilarious.
Love me a good strip club. Rachel, it's been a while since we hung out.
Yeah. Too long.
Are you feeling good? Anything new in life?
I registered for classes for my master's degree the other day.
Wow.
Drink a Boilermaker to celebrate?
I did not. I don't think my advisor would have taken
What's your
well to
favorite
me.
class that you're going to be taking?
Oh, it's just like intro garbage, intro to communication.
Intro to garbage. So you going into environmental engineering or something?
Communication.
Same thing.
Intro to garbage doesn't make much sense, but that's okay. Evil, your gut's better.
My gut's better.
What are you doing what are you going to do this weekend?
Going out to dinner to...
That didn't go well last night. You're going to do it again.
This is going to be a better spot. I'm going to make better choices. It's like a farm to table. Actually, our friend of the pod, neighbor Tyler, it's his wife Kate's
Yay.
Love Tyler.
birthday, I think, and we're going
happy
out.
Sounds
birthday,
like Rip
Tyler.
Tyler.
He
Nice.
rigged up a surprise sort of thing scenario.
Surprise
So-
birthday for himself.
Not for him. It's for his wife, Kate, who's
Oh.
from Canada. Kate's from Canada. Yeah, it all comes
Oh my
together.
God,
See?
apropos.
I can't hate Canada. I love Kate. She's from Canada, and I love Shorzy.
That's
and
true.
Shorzy's from Canada.
Don't O'Brien?
Is he Canadian?
No, I don't
No,
think he's Canadian. I just said a random.
Did you asshole?
I'm happy with it.
I totally believed you.
Speaking of Conan O'Brien, you know how he went on Hot Ones and like.
Greatest interview of
Best
all time.
hot ones ever.
So
Well, no question.
he's like raised the bar to where like now people are just going on Hot Ones to do crazy shit. Like Heidi Klum was on there and she like took her shirt off.
Took her top off.
Yeah, like it's like
Yes.
Conan like set the bar so high. Now people are going to start embarrassing themselves on Hot Ones, and I love it.
Thanks.
It's gonna get better.
Thanks to Conan,
Yeah.
we got Heidi Klum to take her top off. So cheers to you, my man.
Like we all haven't seen Heidi Klum without her top on before.
Very true. I watched that episode and it was hilarious just how much she obviously is so very used to I just take my shirt off now.
Yeah.
This is
here's
just
the
not
time
the
in the
place,
production
but
where my shirt
everywhere
comes off.
apparently. Yeah, this is the part of the day where my shirt comes off.
It's hilarious.
What is your go? So at a nice dinner menu, is there something that you can never pass up? Something on a menu that you just can't say no to?
Well, some sort of beef steak. My go-to is like if there's a good steak. That's
So
what
if they're
I'm
cut
getting.
into fingers and deep fried.
I love finger steaks. So
Are you
much.
more of a bone-in ribeye, fillet? What are you more of?
If it is there, I will always get a porterhouse.
Of course you will. Why the fuck? Why did I even ask?
Or Delmonico. They rarely have
or a
both.
Tomahawk.
Tomahawk is too much.
It's too much.
A Delmonico or a porterhouse.
Rachel, what is your can't say no to on a menu?
Burgers and fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
I was at Longhorn, I think. It's like a steak franchisee restaurant. And I had never been to one before.
Like Texas Roadhouse.
And there's all these steaks on the menu, and I was like, you know what sounds really good? A burger.
It
was a really good burger.
I have a hard time saying no to duck.
You do have a hard time saying no to duck.
A good duck with like crispy skin. Holy fuck, it's so good. You know what else I've been on?
Do you say everybody duck?
No, that's just bad. I've been on a big chicken wing kick lately. Ooh. This might be an obvious duh thing. For me, it wasn't. Best places to get wings around my area anyway, fucking Thai restaurants.
I can see that.
They do amazing wings. Fucking amazing. Like 20 times better than like Wild Wings and stuff like that. So
true story. We were in Stanley last weekend, and which we go to regularly every summer, at least 2 to 3 times. We go to Stanley to camp. It's terrible. People don't go there. Worst place on the planet.
It sucks. I'll just bleep it out.
Yeah. For the very first time, and we went 2 nights in a row, there is a really, really awesome restaurant there called the Stanley Supper Club. And we had the best fried chicken, I think, probably on the planet.
Nice.
There. It was so good.
That is a large statement.
I'm a large man.
Wow. On the planet. Speaking of which,
ever.
by the way, I thought of you, Evil. My mom won a boat tour thing in Stanley that she can't do because she just had eye surgery, which is a whole fucking thing. So she was like, do you know anybody who'd want that? And I was like, actually, I think I do.
Maybe.
But it has to be like a specific weekend. So I'll get you the details. It's neither here. We're not here for this.
That makes it
This
tricky.
has been Food Corner on Verse, Chorus, Verse. We are here to talk a DL's 10 out of 10. Our Lady Peace, been building to this for a while. The album is Spiritual Machines. We already know, based on the last Our Lady Peace episode before our 200th, which was just a blast, everybody. Didn't you have fun?
So fun.
Rachel, not really an Our Lady Peace fan, not because she didn't like them, just not really on her radar or, didn't. Spiritual Machines, I'd imagine this was the first time for you hearing any of the songs.
Yeah.
Confused as to why I picked this over Clumsy?
No.
Okay.
Not
Why
at
do we?
all.
That great response. Why do you say it like that?
You like to pick artistic shit that annoys other people. So I was not, and that's why I was like, this is David's favorite album.
You picked Happiness.
I did. I did.
Stories full of
where you
holes,
catch me.
Rachel. Being high.
No. Here's where you catch me cheating just a little bit. So I had Happiness / Spiritual Machines because I did not know if we were going off the list minus Spiritual Machines or the list with Spiritual Machines.
I'm disgusted.
And then when Jimmy picked Happiness, I was like,
I'm just disgusted.
I'm just going to go with that.
We talked about it a little bit beforehand. You've listened to this album. We know that you've listened to this album.
Yeah.
In an abbreviated way, listening 10 years ago or whenever we talked about it to now, any changes of thought on it?
Yeah. I have some interesting thoughts.
Love it.
Well, here's the crazy thing is I have not listened to it since that sort of time period. And so I thought, I'm going to have to like relearn this whole album. It came back so quickly. Like I must have really dug into it back then.
I like it. It made an impression.
It did.
Because it does. Because it's amazing. Let's get to the most important part of the night, everybody. What are we drinking? Rachel, I would think that you're the most exciting. So let's go to you.
You are not wrong. I have a triple purified reverse osmosis Starbucks water.
Oh, yeah. You're big on the
Fancy.
Starbucks water is good.
It's so good. Well, because it goes in the drinks. So it makes sense that it would be like really nice and purified. And
Got that delicious water going. Evil, you get to drink now because your tummy's better. What are you drinking?
Bourbon.
What a guy. What a guy.
You like Buffalo
I was
Trace,
throwing up 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I know.
But now I feel good, so let's have bourbon.
It's not Buffalo Trace. It's Jefferson Reserve, very old, very small batch, which flavor profile, very similar to Buffalo Trace. Slightly more rich, a little bit more interesting Buffalo Trace for more money.
I'll have to try it. I've had 2 Jeffersons, one I loved and one I wasn't impressed with. I loved... Oh, no, it was very small batch bourbon. Jefferson's very small batch. Not crazy expensive, right? But it's pretty reasonably priced.
50-ish.
Love that bourbon. The one that I was not that impressed with was the ocean one where they do it on the ocean.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick,
and because
like
of the gimmick, they make
bucks.
It's a gimmick.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's way more expensive. It's a little silly.
This one, for the money, it's if you like are a Buffalo Trace fan and you want something in that sort of profile, try it out. It's good.
It's summer, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the 80s here this weekend, which is just lovely. This doesn't look it, but I assure you it is it. This is a gin and tonic. It is my current favorite drink. It's one of my favorite.
You were telling me about this.
It's one of my favorite drinks of all time, and I feel terrible
because it's red.
The gin is red. It is a North Irish gin, and I am so sorry. I'll post it or something. I can't remember the name of it for the fucking life of me. My boss lives in Northern Ireland. He sent it to me because I was like, I really like Botanist or like this. He's like, oh yeah, that's great, but that's shit. Let me send you real gin. And I'm telling you, he's not wrong. This is the best gin and tonic make I've ever had. Just Fever Tree tonic, some lime, and this gin that is red that I cannot fucking find right now. And so I don't know the name, and I apologize, but it's okay. I'm drinking a delicious gin and tonic.
Is it Drumshanbo? No, that's California.
There is no Rochambeau. Spiritual Machines. I am excited to talk about this. This is one of those. The reason that I love the 10 out of 10s is because I don't know what I'm going to.
Rostrevor. ROSTREVOR Ruby Irish Gin. The Morn Dew Distillery. MOURNEDEW Distillery.
Evil saves the day, as usual. That is the gin. It's fucking amazing. I honestly,
scroll through it.
If it wasn't so
Bunch
dangerous,
of inappropriate memes to get to that.
Spiritual Machines. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about why I like this in comparison to Clumsy. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We are back. Rachel.
David.
I have a really, really, really important question. What are Evil and I's favorite songs on Spiritual Machines?
I think your favorite song is The Wonderful Future.
The Future is wonderful. It says so right in the song.
That's interesting.
Evil.
That is interesting.
I said All My Friends. Because chaos.
Okay. I'm not commenting. I will go next. For Evil, I said If You Believe. It's very, very late in the album. There is something very traditional rock about it. But it's not, it leaves you feeling good. The message is positive. It's not just a fucking woe is me rock song. There's more to it than that. For Rachel, because she's a sucker for a good hook, and I do think that there is some very prominent pop goodness in this song, I said Made to Heal. Evil, what do you think our favorite songs are?
I'm cheating. Rachel in Repair, because I think she ranked that high on the previous episode.
You're an idiot. Gotta pay attention, David.
You're the hardest one to pick
That's
for,
what
though,
she
because
said.
this was
Did she?
I'm going to say the first proper track right behind you.
Interesting. Okay. I think we're going to talk about that track later. That's what I think.
I think we're right. It's on this album.
Yeah, it is. Spiritual Machines, 4th album. by the Canadian alternative rock band Our Lady Peace. This is through Columbia. The year 2000, this was a concept album. Basically, Rain found Raymond Kurzweil's The Age of Spiritual Machines, which is a book that he released in 1999. He was so obsessed with the book while they were touring that he was like, I have to write shit about this. Even at times to the rest of the band. Go ahead.
It wasn't Rain.
It wasn't Rain that bought it?
No, it was Turner.
It's Turner.
He found the book because he thought it had a pretty cover. And he picked it up and started reading it and then was like, hey, Rain, check out this book. And then Rain was like, oh, okay.
And then Rain. Okay, so it was Rain that was obsessed with it, but it wasn't him that picked up the. Okay, thank you, Stats and Stats Junior. I'll let you guys figure out which one is which.
It's stats and facts is what it is.
Stacks and stacks of facts and so the rest of the band wasn't in love with doing a concept album, but they fully admitted that the songs they were writing was really good shit.
Yeah.
What's very interesting is that they got Kurzweil himself. They basically called him and asked if they could do this.
Yeah.
And not only did they get him to say yes, but they got him to speak on the album. He does.
Yeah. He was into it.
Spoken word shit on here about the book. It's fucking him. That's God, that's so cool. Also on this album, the Kurzweil K250 keyboard, one of his own inventions.
Yeah.
How does a musician lover, music podcast person not just come all over this fucking shit? Spiritual Machines, a lot of people will call it kind of an end of an era of Our Lady Peace.
Yeah.
Me included.
Because they're right.
So Rachel says, yeah. Evil says, because they're right.
I think they were at a point where, not necessarily in the U.S., but in Canada, they were everywhere. And they were just like...
You wanted to say Canadian.
Yeah, I fucking do. Yeah. God damn it.
You're a victim of your own joke now.
In Canadian land... They were everywhere, and they were just, I think, kind of like sick of themselves after this. I feel like this album was like a...
Would you say they were bored again by happiness?
Yeah, which is not a fish you can catch.
God, we're dorks.
It's what comes after. It's the turn of the century. Music is changing, and they just decide to do a weird thing. Yeah. It worked out really great. I love this album. And then it just is completely different after that.
That makes me happy.
This is like a cornerstone of two different sides of a building, basically. Like it's just two different facades entirely.
Tell you, Rachel, every once in a while you get a golden nugget out of you.
Yeah.
This marks the end of an era. I agree. Not only just because of the Bob Rock incident, as Evil called it, that comes after this, but what happened to the band clearly after this. To me, this is their artistic peak. And then certain members decide to sell out and then other members quit.
Yeah.
I think that's very telling when an album becomes mainstream and half the band fucking quits at the same time. It's very clear what's going on.
It really makes you stop to weigh the gravity of the situation.
The structure and the beat, and I don't mean the actual drum beat. I just mean the other way that you use the term beat. The beats of this album, the sticking points of this album are just so fucking poignant to me. And even when the songs aren't necessarily like most concept albums, every song is not about the concept. There are some songs that are about just completely different things. This included. Yeah. Even when they aren't, they just feel like everything here feels like it's in its right place to me.
I think I was a little... I mildly disagree. It's not that when it diverted, it was a bad situation, but I just wanted everything to be super on the nose of the theme of the album. And when it wasn't, I was like, what are we doing here?
I get that.
Again, not that it was bad. Not that there were bad turns. It was just like unexpected stuff kind of off topic, I guess.
The reason I like that is because I think the larger scope, the concept of this album is what is human and what isn't.
Sure.
And it's probably just me trying to like this album. But the songs that read as something completely different, that are about, love or a brother or something like that, that's the human side to me. That's the side of him that's like, this is a human song about human things. Mm-hmm. Something like artificial intelligence is never going to be able to get to, which,
I have thoughts there.
I think we should start the conversation now, because what's creepy is this is written in 2000.
Yep.
And the dates that they're calling out are starting to line up. Like, it's starting to make a little sense here.
Yeah.
It's also very generic. Evil, you are one of my closest friends, and everybody has that conspiracy theorist weird fucking friend. You're evil. That for me. So, what are your thoughts on this album?
In its time, I think it was a really interesting sort of statement in looping in Kurzweil and the AI is going to take over and become whatever, It feels to me today, and this is going to sound crazy because, we're living in this era where artificial intelligence, I'm putting that in quotes, is like all over the place. We're seeing technology. On the surface, looks like what this concept album is kind of talking about. But when you dig under the hood, I think it's not even close.
So you don't think in 2029 that robots will embody human qualities? And
no,
we'll have to have
don't.
Like fucking courts?
I don't at all. There are many grand minds who are much more intelligent than I that'll say otherwise. But I'm like, you guys are very myopic in focus.
Well, and this is very George. They even mention it. It's very George Orwellian.
Right.
It's very. The end is nigh.
Right.
I see. This is weird because I feel like you would be so stoked on this, and you seem like you're kind of annoyed by it.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of any other piece of art that is projecting the future, and then we live through or past that date, and nothing's even remotely like it.
Where's our fucking hoverboards?
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
I mean, the year is 1994. Yeah. From outer space, a runaway planet comes hurtling between the Earth and the moon, unleashing cosmic destruction.
This reminds me a lot of how The Simpsons, and how there have been, 40 years of The Simpsons and so many different episodes.
I know where you're going.
And it's like, The Simpsons are predicting the future.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, they've had
they
20 episodes a year
jokes
for 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to eventually hit the wall.
Also, I know, I follow Kurzweil, and he basically is trying to live long enough to where he can download his consciousness into a machine. So he's like taking supplements and doing everything he can to extend his life. I haven't even looked to see if he's actually still alive.
He is still alive. He's only 76.
But I feel like his worldview of like what AI is and how it relates to it is fundamentally flawed.
Go on.
I work with, in quotes, AI. It's not intelligent. It's just like, it's like high level automation is really what it is. I also, this could like spiral into a whole like spiritual conversation where I'm like, even like high energy physicists who are doing cutting edge science are like, space-time is doomed. Like, and his thinking is that like consciousness is somehow created from like the brain, and he thinks that like circuitry is going to be able to somehow replicate that. And I'm like, if you look at like what's going on in physics, they're like, no, that's not what's happening, and there's stuff way beyond an idiot like me can't even understand. But I'm just looking and seeing what's happening in science. I'm like, everyone who's pushing all of their chips in on stuff happening within space-time as being this is getting way too fucking out there. I'm going to take a drink and shut up.
No,
that's okay. We're editing again. It's fine.
No, we're back to editing. I'm into it because I see what you're saying. Well, no, I don't want to say I see what you're saying. My thoughts on what you're saying is more like, I think that there is going to eventually be a battle a battle about what should and shouldn't be as far as artificial intelligence. I think his view of it is like an iRobot kind of thing. Like, we're just going to have robots walking around with us.
Yeah.
But the take I like about that, and there is always this, at what point do we have artificial hearts, we have artificial legs, we have artificial, at what point is something human no longer?
It's in like his interstitials that are kind of woven through this. I think it was the 1949 to 1997 one. He talks about where Kasparov was beaten by, was it Deep Mind in chess?
Deep Blue. Yeah.
Deep Blue in chess. And I'm like, that's cool. A computer programmed by humans beat a human on an algorithmically based game that was invented by humans.
Yeah.
There was no creativity in the computational like overriding of what a human was capable of in a finite time frame. I don't think they ever will be.
This scares me from you sound way too logical right now. I'm not used to this from you. Like I was fully expecting you to be like I wasn't expecting you to be like, yeah, I think what they're saying on this is true, but I was like
So let me rewind to when we talked about this previously. I was in 100% the other camp. And so going from then to now.
Oh, so you're a flip-flopper.
I'm a flip-flopper.
I learned new information and now I think a different thing. Fucking weird.
Right?
Rachel, what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence?
I feel like we could go for so long on this topic. We're slowly introducing it at the lab. And as far as where it's at right now, it's just, I'm not concerned in any sense because it's gathering data.
Mm-hmm. I'm not concerned. I'm just intrigued because of what I was talking about. Because of at what point is somebody no longer human? I think that question is going to happen at some point. Anyway, the point this is why I love this album, is because we could talk for 7 hours about the concept. Go ahead, Rach.
From a medical perspective, you can only add so much non-human before that human is not alive.
Based on who made that, who decided
stuff that has been said from like spiritual leaders forever is that consciousness is not necessarily generated by what's happening in space and time. It's more or less interfacing with it.
Well, that's the concept. We did a great job. I think that there is a sweet spot that some bands can get to that happens very rarely. It's usually album like 3 to 5. Half the time it's written on the road like they did with this. It's on tour. The band has found their spot. They're cruising. They've perfected what they're doing with a little bit of an edge, kind of like what I talked about with Happiness. But it's all their tricks, all their niches. It's all perfected. It's albums like Running on Empty or Bleed American or Crash. Right before they experiment too much or they sell out or they stop. That's what this album is to me. A perfect moment in time for a band that I really love.
I think that this was just executed really excellently. It's amazing that Matt Turner could go into a bookstore, pick up a pretty book, and, a time later, this album's produced. And
yeah,
I have not read the book personally, but knowing what I know of Kurzweil's work, I can understand why he'd want to be involved with that. I feel like it wouldn't have been the same necessarily without him. I think that element of it really, I hate interstitials 99% of the time. I think they're stupid and I think they can be taken out for the most part. I think it adds so much to this album.
It's funny because you love hip hop so much.
I know, but I don't love interstitials in hip hop.
Evil, you said that you do feel differently now than you did. Is there an award or category you're saving that for, or do you want to touch on that?
I think it's an overarching thought, so I'll kind of lay it out a little bit. We can.
Okay.
I didn't mean to derail the talk about the music by going to
it was. I think it was more my fault than yours, honestly.
But
it's a fucking concept album, and it's a good one.
What it did, because of the subject matter of the concept, it dated the album to me a bit. I really respect what they did at the time, but looking back on it, I'm like, it doesn't have the same impact now because how things have played out since then.
So more for the worse than the better.
Yeah,
it sounds
not
like?
for the worse is the wrong term. It's diminished because of it.
Gotcha.
Like not the music, the concept choice is diminished for me.
Let's go over some awards and categories. Talk about some songs. We'll get there, music lovers. We'll get there. We'll be right back. Awards and categories. Rachel, you like being on the pod, I promise. The David Crosby Met Award.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Wes Dorkson in March of 2021. You ready for this?
Oh, we're ready.
I liked this album. ... 4 years ago, and it was called OK Computer. Bam!
Whoa! Burn.
I think this is absolutely nothing like OK
Not
Computer.
even close.
Not even close. And I think if he thinks that this was the concept for OK Computer, idiot. What's love got to do with it? I'm going to you first, Rachel, because I think it's probably a non-answer for you.
Yeah.
Any sort of bias work its way into you on this?
So the only bias that I had, because I didn't know that I even knew anything about Our Lady Peace, and this album even less.
Our Lady of Peace, Rachel.
You get it right.
Sorry. I'm trying to take out... Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I did think that I would hate it because I figured David loved it a lot. So I did have that bias that I came in that I was like, I expect very little of this because weird art piece that David likes.
The things you say change so often.
What do you mean?
I feel like the last time we did this, you were like, you usually have... No, it was a text. Never mind. You're like, you have really good taste. And now
I know,
like,
and I realized that after I listened to... But every time I go into something, I'm like, it's going to be shit. I can feel it.
You just have a big opinion of me.
Amazing.
That's how I feel about you.
Okay, I love it. I would say that there was probably a bias in this because, like I said, the albums before this I loved. Although I do think, if I'm remembering right, and I might not, I had only heard Clumsy before this. And then I found this, loved it, went back and listened to Navid and Happiness. So I think this might have been the second Our Lady Peace album that I heard.
Oh, wow.
So maybe some bias, but not as much bias as you would think. I just genuinely heard this. Like, I was at a point in my life where music was everything, and this album just kicked my ass. Evil, what about you?
I'm going to rewind to when you gave this to me to listen to years ago, because I think my bias at that point was, well, if it was that good, why haven't I heard it yet?
Oh. DMX Award. What makes this project unique?
This project, the concept of the whole album of working with an author, and then not just an author, but like a computer scientist, musical nerd gentleman, and
Musical nerd gentleman
working around a book for your album, I think, and having that inspiration, that kind of makes it a unique album, especially, given their discography.
It's a one and done if you don't count that other one, which isn't a concept album anyway. And we already talked about that in the last episode. Fucking motherfuckers. Evil, DMX Award.
Broadly, as a band, this era of the band, this popped into my mind. Circus Tricks. Like, for some reason, the band reminds me of like a circus. And I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the visual of the album cover of Clumsy. But it's his like vocal delivery, the weird guitar textures. It's got like like circus music-y uncanny vibe to it.
Sure.
That I think is one of the things that makes them special. For this album specifically, it's the Kurzweil tie-in. The guy's brilliant. He's like a brilliant futurist, inventor, author, smarter than I am for sure. So I don't want to disparage him in any way. I think his thinking is not where things have headed.
I think the uniqueness of this is that this album exists. It's surprising. Here's what I'll say. If a band's going to come out with an album like Gravity, it surprises me that this happens before it. It surprises me that the arc isn't Navid, Clumsy, Happiness, Gravity. Like, okay, we did what we were going to do. Happiness flopped. We got to do Gravity. I'm sure that kind of helps that they were on tour and they were just...
Yeah.
But that's what I love about it is this clearly was a passion project. This clearly was like, we have to get this art out. The Mark Lanigan True Rockstar Award, Evil.
Canada's finest.
Are they though?
What'd you say?
I don't know. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the Circus Tricks. It's like they're an N of one. There's nobody that sounds like them when they're doing this, when they're doing this version of what they do, when he's singing this version of how he sings. Like they somehow tapped into a very original sort of sound and feel that calls back to obviously their what inspired them, but is very much what they are. And then they become homogenized, which I think is the term I used previously. Like they're very unique melting pot of ideas and sounds is what make them who they are, rock star wise.
I almost want to call them rock stars because what happened next? They sold out and they tried to get money, and that's very rock star of them. The fact that this was, like I said, this is clearly a passion project. They didn't give a shit about what it was going to do. They just needed to get it out. That's rock star.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that you don't see band be like, hey, you know what's a great idea? Let's do an album off this book. Like that. It's just like they were obviously high or drunk or just being like super creative.
God bless them.
And like you said, you got the art in you. You got to get it out. That's what this album is. So
do you think that this was of the time? Do you think it was early, late? What did you think of the timeliness of this album?
This one was so off my radar. And knowing that it was early 2000, I think it was probably a little late in the game. I think this would have been shocking and interesting if we knew less about computers. It was scary then, and here it just looks like, yeah, I could see that happening in like 20 years or so. So it's not really, I mean, his predictions are 1929 or 2029. And so
I swim the opposite direction that you two are in this episode. I can't believe how fucking well timed it seems to me. I don't think that in 2029 fucking robots are going to be walking around and we're going to be like, well, who's human and who is nothing like that.
5 years, we can make it happen.
But I do think that in 5 years we're going to be having serious questions about how many jobs are we going to give up for this and that, and how much poverty are we going to allow in this country until a corporation is held accountable for doing this instead of having a person do it. I do think that as far as the music, I think it was very well timed. 2000 was a really good year for music. Kid A, Stankonia, Rated R, Coldplay's good album, The Moon in Antarctica. It was a good year, and I think that I just think there was a lot of really good art. What do you think, Evil?
I answered this very differently, because we usually do like, is this overrated, underrated, or properly rated in its time versus currently? That's kind of how we usually answer this. I said the question is flawed. It shouldn't be.
That is how we do it.
It shouldn't be.
And I did it differently this time.
In its time versus currently. It should be by fans versus non-fans. And I think it's properly rated by the fans and probably either just like disregarded or improperly rated by the general public.
Very true. I think
people
this
just don't know about it.
Yeah.
I think this album has a cult following.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
This is one of those albums that I've had random conversations with random people at random times. It's like fucking Spiritual Machines. My God. Influences and influencees on this album. I think they read a book and it influenced them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything different than that?
For this album, yeah. It's like, obviously.
It's just such an one-off album.
Yeah. I agree. Here's a good one. And we kind of already have the answer. Never mind the Bullocks Award. Is this the band's best album? And is it close? I was the one that said that this is my favorite. I do probably think that Clumsy is their best album.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I think they have 4 albums that are way up there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I agree. I like spot on with you. I think Clumsy's their best. I think this one's close. Naveed is imperfect, and it's perfectly imperfect as a debut. Yeah. Happiness, the jury's still out for me on it because it's so new to me. But I find that album to be probably the most interesting of all 4 right now because I'm just not as experienced with it. And I want to learn more about it. I'll be listening to these guys more.
It's so good. Nowadays, if I turn on Our Lady Peace, I'm usually listening to Happiness.
Yeah, I could see that completely. It feels like that album has aged the best.
Fucking rock. It does.
I don't know.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think this is Clumsy. I like Clumsy best. I think Clumsy is their best album, but I also feel like it's this is just in a whole different genre. And so I feel like it's kind of hard to judge against. I
like that answer.
I don't know. It's like judging your kid's best artwork from kindergarten to judging your kid's best artwork from high school. It's like they're just so,
They get way better.
they're just so different.
The John Paul Jones Award, Rachel.
You can do it. If I could replace or add one musician. Okay,
Remind yourself of what the award is. We haven't
complaint
been doing this that long.
and the people, David.
If you fuckers don't know what the John Paul Jones Award is yet,
David,
come on.
maybe there's new people. Let's be gentle.
The trick is, Rachel, is you have them be like, wait, what the fuck is the John Paul Jones Award? I got to go back and listen to other episodes.
I have to listen to 199 more episodes?
Yes, twice.
200, actually. This is a hard one for me.
That's what she said.
If I had to change one thing about this album, I would bring back Rain's old singing voice, because I feel like this is where
you don't think he does it as much in this one?
and starts to alter to a different range, and I don't love it as much. I think that's what makes one of the things that makes their sound unique from other bands that were coming out around the same time.
I mean,
And to take that away is
does it all the time in this episode.
Not all the time.
Okay. You know what I want? I want more of the spiritual machines. I want more of the book portions going in between the songs. Because I love those. The eerie music behind the 10 to 15 years ago, the universe. I think that adds so much, and I love it. What about you, Evil?
Same, and I'm going to add to it because the last track, it does the late 90s, early 2000s things where there's a hidden track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Several minutes after the end of the final song. And where it's a conversation.
The interview, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want more of that in those interstitials that weave in and out of the tracks, the actual musical tracks, more logically. I want the story to be fleshed out a bit more.
Agreed.
To where the music is tied to the Kurzweil narrative throughout it a bit more.
Yeah.
I would agree.
That is the one place right before The Wonderful Life, or The Wonderful Life.
Every
the
time a
Future.
bell rings, a teacher gets a teacher gets his wings.
I think we've all worked too long today. Right before The Wonderful Future, that's one of my complaints, is I wanted another something right before it, even though I knew that there was a hidden track and there was something after.
Yeah.
I thought it needed something between If You Believe and The Wonderful Future.
Rachel, right back to you.
Yeah.
No. Dude.
No.
Seriously, you got to listen to this song.
I said right behind you.
Okay. So you okay. I'm learning.
I like to pick the songs that I feel like the people will like.
It is. I feel like that is the easiest.
Yeah.
So here's the difference between you and I like both Room of Thought. You are very much, what song can I give to people that will get them in the door?
What's the gateway drug?
That they will be like,
Yeah.
Me, I look at it almost the opposite. I'm like, if you don't like this song,
then you're not
don't
gonna
even
like
fucking bother.
No.
So I said Made to Heal. I think that there's enough funkiness going on in that. Like, especially the beginning with that weird kind of, you have the guitar doing a very, very basic line, but then it keeps doing this really weird thing. Do you want me to do it again, Rach?
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
But then it has just a great, great hook that might get brought up later. Evil. No, dude, seriously.
I was going to say Right Behind You because it seems like the obvious gateway drug choice. But then as I want to be interesting and say something different. I also panicked when I picked For You and said Right Behind You, which is clearly the wrong answer. I'm going to pivot and be like, how could I hook me into this album? And I'm going to say If You Believe would be the one that would hook me into the album.
It's weird. It's almost like I picked that as your favorite song.
Yeah, maybe that's why I picked this one.
Maybe.
The John Popper Best Hook Award. Evil, right back to you. What you got?
I have two.
Love it.
The first one is from Right Behind You. And it's just the you over and over again. It intros with it. He comes out of the chorus with that. It is such an earworm. It's like fucking Rihanna, Umbrella, Ella. I mean, it's the same thing. It's that vocal, that auditory loop. But I wanted to pick something else that was maybe a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
It's the chorus of Middle of Yesterday.
Standing in the middle of yesterday, when it all went wrong, when we made mistakes. I'm sorry.
I fucking love that. just that soaring chorus, which they're so good at.
And he really is doing that nasally. I mean,
Yeah.
that is very like standing in the middle. It's super nasally. Yeah.
It's also one of the songs where I'm like, oh, this is where they do that thing that they do. It's kind of comforting for me because they do that soaring chorus so well on other albums. So
God, they do.
It's like comfort food.
Rach, what's your favorite hook on this? It brings you back. The hook.
Big Green Monkey, everyone's a junkie.
That's good.
It just gets caught in your head. And then it's there for the rest of the day. I love it.
Forever.
I think it's so fun.
I said Made to Heal. I think I even remember when I first heard it being like, what the fuck is he saying? You know, before Google was a thing.
Yeah.
Made a beat da 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 what? And it's just y'all. I fucking love that. I think it's so awesome.
Yeah.
John Prine Best Lyric Award, our resident lyric face, Rachel. Yes. What do you think?
Okay, so I have two answers.
Love it.
I just really liked the idea of In Repair, the song.
Yep.
So I pulled out Like a Machine, I'll Fix You from the start. I'm in repair. The life that we share, I know that I'll be lost in, but we're always in repair. Like just the idea of humans and robots always need fixing and always need upgrading. And I just thought that was a really poignant. On the Kurzweil side, one of the interstitial on death.
Oh, yeah.
Where he says, death gives meaning to our lives. It gives importance and value to time. Time would become meaningless if there were too much of it.
To me, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for the answers on a Sunday afternoon. I'm just too drunk to remember why I always slip through. The drugs and fake ambition have been helping me to hide, but it's the endless television that has kept me inside.
Yes.
Fuck me. That's fucking great. Good shit right there.
I'm glad I changed my answer.
Evil, what about you?
So I picked this because it has stuck with me from when you first gave me the album to listen to.
Is it Made to Y'all?
Yes.
Yes. No, it's not. It is not even a lyric. It's from that outro interstitial where they're talking about making music with constraints as part of the creative process. And it's when they say new music for old minds. That has stuck with me forever. I fucking love that so much. As much as I disparage like the whole thought process behind the concept and whatever, that's fucking awesome. And I absolutely love it.
You know, well, you guys are talking a lot of shit about how silly the concept is.
So silly.
Which I get. But do you guys not still like that sort of, like fucking Blade Runner was obviously not going to happen by the time it happened.
Right.
But it's still a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah. I agree.
I still like, yeah, it's silly, but it's still fucking awesome.
It's just, like I said, for me, it's timing. It's like if 1984 came out a couple years ago, or if Handmaid's Tale, if that came out today, like it wouldn't make sense because it'd be like, yes, I could very much see that happening in the next 4 years.
One can hope. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Why does Megan put up with this shit?
But does that make you like 1984 any less?
No, because it came out 100,000 years. Like it came out long enough ago that
that's one of the best Van Halen albums.
This came out a quarter of a century ago.
Exactly. 1984 came out so much before 1984 that it made sense that that would be a scary thing that could happen.
So and maybe I'm projecting, but maybe this would have meant more to you if you would have been hearing it in 2000 as opposed to 2024. Maybe. We have to start with Evil because it's the Eddie Van Halen Award.
I'm disappointed that you didn't pick up on my Van Halen 1984 joke, but anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said it's one of the best albums.
Not all of our heads are always revolving around the Eddie Van Halen.
And that's what's wrong with you guys.
One of the things.
One thing that we haven't touched on at all, I don't think, is the bass playing in their music.
Motherfucker.
Okay, we haven't.
You picked the same thing as me.
Their the bass lines are so fucking good in Our Lady Peace.
Yes. And in some songs, they're in the pocket and serve the song in that capacity. And in other songs, they fucking completely take over. And in Everyone's a Junkie, the bass playing melts my face. It's so fucking good.
You piece of shit.
I'm just too drunk to remember why I always slip through.
Especially with, I don't know if he's hitting the stand of the hi-hat or if it's just, it's probably digital, but him doing that
tink, tink, tink.
timp along with that bass line, fucking A, it's so good. It's so good. This isn't a solo, this isn't a riff, but the breakdown on In Repair. So it goes into this this light thing where it's just the drums and it's his kind of he's kind of talking, and then it blasts open with this acoustic electric, and there's some like megaphone speaking behind that you can't really tell what they're saying.
Yeah.
But the bells and the piano, everything comes in, and it's I don't know what the chord progression is. It's some very basic, D, E, C sort of thing, but fuck, it's so fucking good. Rachel, what's your...
I had the same answer as Evil.
The bass line on Everyone's a Junkie.
The bass line of everyone.
So good.
It's literally, they do such a good job of playing cohesively and to not make anything super stand out.
Yeah.
That was the first time where I was like, oh, there's a bass player. Like to where it really stood out to me. And I was like, that is amazing. That's really, really great.
Is.
I feel bad. I legitimately do now feel bad that we haven't talked about the bass, because it's so the bass lines throughout the first 4 albums of these guys it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's insane how good the bass lines are. Surfer Rosa Award, Rachel, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Tell me about how you feel.
I feel like musically it was a little front loaded. However, having the interstitials, I think, like broke it up and made it work.
Okay.
I guess. But I do think, that's more poppy radio play on the front than on the end of it, I guess.
I kind of agree with that. I think that as it progresses, the music gets a little more progressive-ish.
Okay.
But not
And maybe there's something there.
good versus not better or worse. I think it's a different style. Like the more like radio friendly-ish stuff would be up front.
Okay.
And
But
maybe
I
that
think
makes
the music-
sense. Maybe it's because the robots are taking over.
Yeah, there you go.
It's getting darker.
Well, and that's kind of the point of Surfer Rosa.
Yeah.
Is an album that the first half is all, hey, you could put this on the radio, and the second half is like, okay, now we're alone.
Right.
Here's what the real shit is. You guys can't see this. It's a real shame. Okay, Surfer Rosa Award. I'm looking past for a second just how much I love the concept. I do. I love the concept of this album, and I love that it is a concept album. I think that this is a perfect example of a perfectly structured album. Track one, not track one, but the real track one, right behind you, is a perfect first song.
Yeah.
And then you get In Repair, which is a mood setter for the whole album. And then you get Life, which brings you back because you don't want to blow all your wad and everything. And then you go to Middle of Yesterday, which slaps you in the face right after the slow stuff. I think that this is so fucking well structured. It wins. It wins a Surfer Rosa Award, you guys. Time of Your Life Award. I will start. This was the hardest time that I've ever had picking a least favorite song. And I'm saying that above Dirt, above everything. Ooh. I love everything on this album. There's no obvious worst song for me. Unfortunately, for those of you that picked what my favorite song is, I picked Right Behind You. It is the most obvious on this album to me. I could see that it's starting and kind of being like, oh, okay, this seems pretty basic. And then you have to get into the rest of the album to really be like, oh shit, there's stuff going on here. Rachel, what's your time of your life? What time of your life song do you have?
I said, Are You Sad? And I think it was the most meh.
I was waiting.
For me.
I was waiting for one of you to pick one of the slowies.
It's both of us.
Yay.
Spoiler alert.
I think that song's so good.
I don't think it's a bad song. I think it ties into the theme, I guess, the least.
Do you guys know what it's about?
Being sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's right in the,
It is.
it's right in the title.
No. There was a night while they were writing this album where Rain was trying to get a hold of his brother who has depression issues, and he couldn't. Of course, as a person, your mind's gonna just go fucking crazy like with stuff like that.
It would rain on your parade if you had those thoughts.
It would. That's not. Is that the second time you've made that joke, Evil?
Probably. I'll do it
God
again.
damn it. Rachel, let's start with you, since you are you've been anxious to get rid of us for a while now.
Hours.
What are the 3 best songs on the album?
All 3?
You ask me that every time, and every time I say, yep, all 3.
To be fair, we do it a different way because we do. Anyway, doesn't matter. All 3. All My Friends, number 3. It was very unique for me.
That's an odd song for you.
Yeah, I think
You don't usually like the weirdies.
I don't like the weirdies. It bothered me so much that it made me like it because I kept listening to it because I was like, I sent it to Trevor and I was like, is this 3/4? Is this 2? What time signature is this? Like, I was really confused and he was confused, and he's much smarter than I am. So I think that made me like it a little bit. In Repair was the second one.
And it's good to know that you will drive away from this car crash nightmare, and I'll be there to help you.
The storytelling correlation between humans and machines, and how we're in constant need of fixing, talked about that. I really like that. And then number 1, just because it's fucking catchy as hell, was Everyone's a Junkie.
Really? Because that's a little weird too.
It is a little weird.
Right?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise you?
I either like the pop bangers or the really deep ones. So
All My Friends, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it just 3/3? Isn't it just a waltz?
I thought it was 3/4.
Okay. Evil,
I'm gonna have to listen
what
to it.
are your 3 favorite songs on this album?
Oh, there are such good songs on the album. I think In Repair and Life are great, but in that front section, contrary to your pick as the worst song, I think Right Behind You pulls you in immediately. It's a great intro.
No matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter what, I'm always right there behind you.
It surprises me that you mentioned Life as a song. No, I shouldn't say it surprises me. I was wishy-washy on if you guys were going to love or hate the song Life, because it's a little cheesy, but to me it's cheesy in a good way.
It's the clumsy of this album.
Love that. Yeah.
I think it's good. But my number 3, my actual number 3 is Right Behind You. And number 2 is If You Believe.
You wasted your time. You will be goodbye. Time to be scared.
It would, now that I think about it, be the one that I would try to hook me with. And my number 1, because of many reasons, 1 being how catchy it fucking is, and 2 being the awesome bass playing, is I'm samesies with Rachel. It's Everyone's a Junkie.
Yes.
Wow. Samesies.
Samesies.
All right.
So much in common today.
Whatever. You guys are just best friends, and who cares? Number 3 for me, I've talked about it quite a bit, Made to Heal. Or if I want to say it better, Made to Heal.
Yeah.
Just amazing song. My number 2 is Middle of Yesterday. I love the beginning of it. I love that it
I'm upset 'cause I betrayed everything that you gave. Will you ever let me explain?
Yes, it's kind of this dark, demented thing until you get to the chorus. And even though we sing, everything went wrong, we made mistakes, it's not, I don't know, there's not a end of it all feel to it. Leading me to my number 1, and when the fuck has this ever happened? But it's catchy. The bass line's amazing.
I can be bad, I can be alive, but everything's gonna be black. You're looking for that sun, you're looking for that light. Lonely, not the only one to feel this way in black.
It's kind of the it's the perfect rock song. Everyone's Junkie is might be my real favorite Our Lady Peace song of all time.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
What is going on?
I don't know has that ever happened?
I don't think it has.
No.
I don't think it has.
Holy moly.
It's the perfect song. It's fucking amazing. Rachel, who won the album?
Kurzweil. He sold how many books and pianos after this?
Fuck, good point.
I don't think that's a question.
Books and pianos.
Oh my God.
I just said people that love a good concept album.
Sure.
It's rare. It's rare that you get a concept album, and I'm not talking about the concept. An album that is good, that's a concept album, is rare.
Those are both good answers. I think Ray Kurzweil is a great answer. I think you may have won this album, actually. Now that
I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did. And them,
so
they also may have won. I think our diehard Our Lady Peace fans won this album.
I feel like this is a big cog in. I don't hate them as much as I hate like Green Day or Weezer, because at least they have spiritual machines.
Yeah.
It's time for the big one. Let's rate this album. I will start to my right. Evil. Give this album a rating.
It's a 9.
Honestly, higher than I thought it was going to be.
Spiritual machines. I think it would have been higher. I don't think it would have been a 10 out of 10 earlier when I listened to it the first time. Maybe like a 9.3, 9.5. But it's still, musically, it's still it's fucking awesome.
That's very high. Rachel, what about you?
I think I like it a little bit less. I think I see a few more flaws in it than Evil, so I'm going to give it an 8.
There are no flaws. But that was honestly more of the area that I was expecting, was about an 8.
Yeah.
No, I should take that back. From Evil, from Rachel, I had no clue about you, Rachel. For all I knew, you were going to come on and be like, this band fucking sucks. So it's interesting.
Man, the music is so interesting in this era. For sure.
It is. This album was really, really difficult for me to rate because of the quirkiness, but I kind of gave away my position. Well, I gave away my position for the last 10 years, but I also gave away my position when I said that this was so hard for me to pick a least favorite song, because I love this entire thing. I don't think there's anything bad on this. It is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Definitely. Like nothing
awesome
on here that I don't think is great. Even the stuff that I could see where people would find flaws in, like Are You Sad, or some of the parts in like If You Believe. I just think it's amazing. I'm not even sure it's their best album. I don't think it is. So good job, Our Lady Peace. Good job, Rachel, for sticking with us. I know that you were in a big rush to get to Garfield, starring Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
You always got some reason to try to get rid of us. Evil, what are you doing for the rest of the night?
I'm mowing the lawn and then going to dinner.
Me
That's
too.
right.
Me
Yep.
too.
You guys have so much in common.
I get pad thai tonight. I'm very excited.
Oh, hell yeah.
Love you
they make
guys.
good
Hey,
wings.
everybody. Hope we did Our Lady Peace justice, even though we didn't talk about songs until about 48 minutes in. But hey,
Oh, my God.
the best movies. You remember Batman Begins? He didn't even don his suit until like 50 minutes in. And that movie's amazing. VerseChorusVerse.com at VerseChorusVersePod. You don't like Batman Begins?
I don't know. I was trying to work in a Superman's dead joke there, but
Oh, damn. That would have been smarter. Yeah. Man of Steel, he didn't even don his cape until 50 minutes in.
Smallville. Like he wasn't even Superman till the last season.
Bam.
That's
And
true.
that's why that show sucked.
Okay.
Hey, we love you. We will see you next week. What's that? Starring Chris Pratt. I didn't even.
Sorry, Chris
God
Pratt.
damn, what's wrong with me? I will see you guys next week. Next week, Evil and I, Q3 of 1994. Good fucking luck to us is all that I'm going to say about that. Rachel is literally fading off screen. We love you guys. Good night
David.
and good luck.
Oh, I wanna stay right by your side, 'cause you and me, we fit together naturally.